Some say Chinese is one of the most difficult languages in the world, and learning it is almost impossible.
So learning Chinese, the most difficult thing.
非常非常非常非常非常难
So I'm sort of tone deaf. I can't really hear them.
I think the cultural mindset is the biggest complication for
The
us.
grammar.
知吃思诗都很难
It's just complicated so much.
Only because you're not learning it in the right way. Why not try Takeaway Chinese, where you can take some Chinese away and experience progress day by day. Takeaway Chinese, we will promise you a difference.
你好，欢迎收听随行汉语 Welcome to Takeaway Chinese. I'm Niu Honglin with Tony Reid in the studio. Hi, Tony.
Hey, Niuniu.
So, in the previous episode, we talked a little bit about looking for jobs, especially the hoops you have to jump when it comes to different interviews, right?
Right.
Why?
I'm just laughing at the hoops you have to jump through. Because, yeah, there are lots of things that they have you do, perform for them before they consider hiring you, yeah.
And I think in this episode, I want to be a little bit more specific.
Oh, good.
Yeah, be, helpful to the job hunters out there who are struggling a little bit with their language. I think, of course, if you're looking for a job that does not require you to speak Chinese, you don't have to speak Chinese during the interview. But it will be a really, I think, nice gesture if you can at least introduce yourself a little bit in Chinese or say a little bit of something or prepare certain words and say them in Chinese. It will
If your
leave a
employer's
really
Chinese,
nice...
I think it would blow them away.
Yeah,
They're
but
like,
great
"Whoa."
impression, right?
Yeah.
So we're going to talk a bit about that. That'll be the topic of today's Takeaway Chinese. So for our dear listeners, if you're interested in Chinese culture and you want to get to grips with the Chinese language, then this is the show for you. Stick with us for 30 minutes and you soon see the rewards. And for more fun Chinese learning, follow our Facebook page, CRI Learn Chinese, to watch many fun videos and live streams. But now, let's provide you with some free Chinese for takeaway. 你为什么想来我们公司工作？因为我对贵公司的业务很感兴趣。你觉得自己最大的优点是什么？我是一个脚踏实地的人，工作很认真。
Very annoying questions that are asked in an interview.
Oh, really?
Oh, yes. What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses?
Yeah, I think what is your weakness is worse.
It's the worst question because you have to, bag on yourself a little bit, but you have to do it artfully in a way where it makes it actually look like a strength rather than a weakness.
But I think sometimes you also need to be frank. Don't say things like, I work too hard. It disappoint my family. Don't say things like that. It'll be just too much.
Yeah, like I said, you have to be very artful about it.
Yeah, put yourself in the shoes of the interviewer as well. Don't say things like that. Or like, I love my job too much, Oh gosh, don't say that. Anyway.
Yeah.
I think after all, this is a very useful conversation, at least.
Very useful.
If you learn some of these words or some of these sentences and you can repeat them in your interview, it'd be very nice.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so for the first sentence, 你为什么想来我们公司工作?
Why do you want to work in our company? Oh, I loathe this question. But
Why?
I think they all ask it.
They all ask it.
So, 你为什么? So, you or why.
You, why?
想, so this is like wish or want to do something, right?
想 is thinking about, wish or miss. So it has something to do with you moving your brain for certain things.
All right.
So 想, 来 is come.
来我, this is, or
No.
来我们.
Yeah,
So come to us.
Come to us, come to our company.
公司,
公司 would
which
be
is
the
company, and 工作 is work.
Work, yes. 你为什么想来我们公司工作? Why would you want to work in our company? Yeah, they ask things like this all the time.
Salary is really good.
Yeah,
Of course, we can't say that.
That
right?
would be the wrong answer. I mean, of course, sometimes we say there is no wrong answer. That is the wrong answer.
It's unfortunate, but yeah, I mean, I wish I could. I may do that one day. I don't know. Maybe if I have an interview, I'll just sit there and just tell them, oh, this I'll give them a few other variables. Well, this is a very exciting company to work for. It's very dynamic, great leadership, has a very great track record, and the salary is wonderful.
I want to see the face of your employees.
Yeah, I think so. I think they
Yeah,
would
it'd be
all the
fun.
interviewers would probably look up.
They'll remember you for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then part B said, see, this is a genuine or this is a standard answer. 因为我对贵公司的业务很感兴趣。
Okay, so because I'm very interested in your company's salary, I mean business.
Yes, business or what you do.
Right. 因为 this is because, right? 我对 so I, and then 对 is like it
Towards.
means for
Or to.
towards?
So it depends. It's basically saying that it suggests the direction of the verb.
Okay.
So I'm trying to, to or towards.
Okay. And then 贵 is this is like precious or something that's very vital, eh?
Yeah, here, well, actually, 贵 in itself would mean precious or valuable or expensive. But in Chinese, if you put 贵 in front of the noun, you're using it in a respectful way. So 贵公司 would be 公司 we know is company, so it's your company in a respectful way. And in Chinese, when you're asking for someone's family name, you say 您贵姓. What is your valuable family name? What is your precious family name? So it's a respective way of saying it.
Very different than 太贵了.
No, it's very different. 太贵了 would be very expensive. Respectful way of saying things. So 贵公司 and also
Company.
yeah.
So precious company. So 的业务.
业务.
So 业务 is like profession or industry or business.
And yeah, 业务. I feel like 业务 is the things you do, but in a very official way. So, for example, if this company sells, I don't know, cosmetics, I would totally say, 我对贵公司的业务很感兴趣. I love the things you sell. I like your industry. It's, again, a working environment kind of language. 贵公司的业务很感兴趣.
很感兴趣. So 很 is like very.
Very.
And then 感兴趣 is like something you're interested in.
Yes, 感兴趣, interested. 感, I feel like 感兴趣 in itself would be a verb. Its nature is a verb. So 我对写作很感兴趣. I'm interested in writing. 我对绘画很感兴趣. I'm interested in painting. So 感兴趣 would be a verb. I'm interested in something.
Okay.
我对贵公司的业务很感兴趣. I'm very interested in your company's business. 你觉得自己最大的优点是什么?
So what do you think are your greatest strengths? So 你觉得 so your 觉得 or it's like thinking, right? Or your,
Yeah, 你覺得 would be you think.
And then 自己 so
Self.
This is self. Okay.
This is actually very useful because in English you say himself, yourself, myself. In Chinese you just say self. And it depends on the context. People would understand which self you're talking about.
Okay. So 你觉得自己
Here it's obviously yourself.
最大 So 最大 is biggest. The here is like a possession. Or
Well, this is the you put in
part of the biggest,
front.
right?
Yeah, but you put it in front of the noun.
Okay.
And then shows that the adjective in front of the de is describing the noun.
Okay. So here it's after the adjective. So it's just, maybe it's part of the adjective here, right?
Yeah.
Biggest. And 优点. So this is like a strength.
Strength.
Yeah.
优点. Do you know how to say weakness?
Witness. No.
缺点.
缺点.
Yeah. So 优点 strength. 缺点 weakness.
一点.
A bit.
Okay.
Okay, so we know 点 is point.
Okay.
And 优 is actually excellence or good. And 缺 is lack of. So the point that you're excellent as would be your strength. So 优点. The point that you lack of would be your weakness. 缺点.
缺点. Okay. So point. The end is point.
Yeah.
And then 是什么? So is what?
Is what? So what is your strength or what are your strengths? 你的优点是什么? And 你的缺点是什么? What is your weakness? Something, people like to ask. 缺点. And then the answer is, 我是一个脚踏实地的人，工作很认真。
Okay, so I'm a down-to-earth person and I work very hard.
Yes.
All right, so 我是 I am 一个 one or a person.
脚踏实地 is actually a idiom.
Phrase, huh?
Yeah, a phrase.
脚踏实地. This is this is that down-to-earth expression.
Yes.
Right?
So 脚 is foot or feet. 踏 is step
yes, I know
on.
脚, yes.
实 is solid. And 地 is ground.
Okay.
So down to earth.
Oh, interesting.
We have funny expressions. So 脚踏实地, you can think about someone walking step by step on a solid ground. They're not, climbing
up
into
in the clouds.
No, they're not up in the clouds.
They're not
That's
godly
good.
figures.
So 脚踏实地 would be more often used to describe the kind of people that are practical. They're dependable. They do even the small missions, the appears to be not so important missions, right? So you give them a task, they would finish them. So they would complete it.
Okay, so
Yeah.
people who play their part, people who take one for the team.
Yeah, like that. And 工作很认真.
So 工作, this is work. 很 is very. And then 认真, this is like someone who's cautious or careful.
Yeah, it's like cautious or careful. They're detail oriented in a way. They would get every detail right. 认真.
Okay.
Yeah.
Detail oriented. Perfectionist.
Perfectionist a little bit, yeah.
Okay.
工作认真. So it's saying, yep, I am a dependable person, down to earth, practical dude that is working really hard all the time.
Okay.
我是一个脚踏实地的人，工作很认真. Any other questions towards the conversation?
Not this one. Let's give it a go.
Okay.
你为什么想来我们公司工作？
因为我对贵公司的业务很感兴趣。
你觉得自己最大的优点是什么？
我是一个脚踏实地的人，工作很认真。You're listening to Takeaway Chinese with myself and Tony. We would love to hear from you. Send us your thoughts via email to learnchinese@cri.com.cn. Coming up next, let's learn more expressions you might encounter during your interview. Don't go away, so you will take some Chinese away. Welcome back to Takeaway Chinese. I'm Niu Honglin with Tony. So, Tony, what do you think are your biggest strength and weakness?
Oh, you're doing this to me
gasp.
right now.
Do you think you can say them in Chinese?
In Chinese, no.
No.
Not at this point.
You'll be able to do it later.
Hardworking. This is, I should know this one.
Yeah.
Diligent. Hardworking. Wait. This is, 工作 no 工作
Yeah, 工作認真 or 工作努力努力 is hardworking. It's more precise here. 努力 hardworking. And yeah, I think when it comes to interviews, of course, people would ask you to introduce yourself. That's often the easiest part to.
我叫 Tony, 很高兴认识你.
Yep,
This is how you say nice to meet you.
Yeah,
right?
nice to meet you. So start from there. And of course, you want to describe your previous work experience, your education situation. You can say all that in English. I think it'll be fine. And then you want to talk a little bit about your 优点和缺点. So the strength and weakness.
Strengths and weaknesses, right?
We already know that Tony is hardworking, 工作认真. 工作认真 hardworking.
工作认真
And 工作努力 that's yes, hardworking. So what is your weakness?
My weakness. I can't say that in Chinese.
Yeah, of course. It's okay. I'll tell you how to say that in Chinese. You can be a good example to our friends out there listening to the podcast.
My weakness. Sometimes I have a certain standard for the things that I enjoy doing. And if the people I'm working with on a project don't share my vision, then it won't work. So for creative reasons, creative differences can, hang me up sometimes.
That is a very artful way of describing your weakness. You can say that 我是一个完美主义者.
So, wait.
完美主义者.
完美
Perfectionist. 主义.
主义.
主义 is like ism. So perfectionism, that ism. 者 is a person. So I'm a perfectionism. I cannot deal with things that's not up to my standard. It's just, too hard.
Well, I think perfectionism has a different meaning. I think, I guess perfection is subjective, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess in one person's mind, it has to be a certain way, their way or the highway,
Yeah. So 完美主义者 would be perfectionism. And here we know that when it comes to the weakness, you have to choose carefully. Well, I think when I was answering this question, I was quite frank and blunt. I just said that I am not really perfect with details. I can get the majority of the things right, but it's possible that we'll slip in some tiny details. It happens, and it's the real thing. And I was being me, and they liked me, so it's good.
Yeah, I don't think that's too bad. I think people tend to make mistakes on details.
Yeah, so I would say 我有一点马虎.
一点儿
a little bit. 马虎 is a funny word because in Chinese we know 马 is the horse, 虎 is a tiger, and the word 马虎 actually means we're not careful enough, because this word, the origin of
horse
the word,
tiger.
Yeah, the origin of the word is a painter who painted the head of a horse, but he was asked to actually paint a tiger, so he just finished the horse. The rear end of the horse is actually a tiger, and that was the reason that his son doesn't really know the difference between a tiger and a horse. And it's like he's not careful enough. So that's the origin of this word. Now people use 马虎 to mean that someone is not, again, careful enough or not focusing on details.
Wow.
马虎, yeah. So I would say 我有一点马虎.
一点儿马虎
A little bit, yeah.
Oh, well, with that story, I think I'm going to remember this one.
Right?
马虎
马虎. So, yeah, so those are the things that you might need when you're answering about your strength and weakness.
Yeah, being very clever how you say it, right?
Yeah, or sometimes you pick one real weaknesses of yours and you say it very genuinely, very, frankly, like you're this real person standing in front of them looking for a job and willing to open up.
Yeah. If I say, I just really don't respond well to authority. I don't like people telling me what to do.
Yeah, that that you won't get it.
I'm so genuine about it. I think
You
I
still
can
have
do
to
all
pick.
of your jobs.
You have to pick the right thing to say. So yes, 优点和缺点. Another thing that might come up during an interview would be the salary and allowance. So that in Chinese, it would be 薪资待遇.
薪资待遇
Yeah, 薪 is salary. 资 is also the amount of money. So 薪资 together, the salary. And 待遇 is actually the treatment. So the allowance. Possibly you get annual leave, you get physical checkups, you get
salary
national
package.
holidays. Yeah, well, salary package is a good word. But I think this one is important because it's sometimes people would ask you, do you have any questions for us? The interviewer would ask you that. Then if they haven't mentioned the salary, you can actually ask. I think it's, again, open market, you are allowed to ask about the company, the position, the post as well. So you can say, 我想了解一下这个岗位的薪资待遇. I'd like to know about the post, the position, salary, and the salary package.
Can we just say 薪资怎么样?
怎么样? Yeah, that works.
That's very very common way of asking, right?
Yeah. And you can say that in a not very, fluent Chinese, and they would be a little bit surprised that you know how to say that, and they won't think, you're being very straight.
Oh, okay.
So 薪资待遇怎么样?
这里的薪资什么样?
这里的薪资怎么样? Yeah, that works. And often, another question I personally really don't like is, 你的职业规划是什么? What is your career planning? Do you have any long-term plan for your job, for your career?
Yeah, just say I want your job.
See, I don't like that question because I haven't started working yet. I don't know what the job is like. How can I plan for, I don't know, the next 5 years? But it's very common. So 职业 career.
职业.
规划 is plan.
职业.
职业规划.
规划.
Yeah. And also, we know 计划 is plan. But 计划 is more, let's say, used in a less official setting. It's, for example, 你周末计划去哪儿玩? Where are you planning to hang out during this weekend?
Play 玩.
So this is like a daily conversation kind of language. But 规划 would be much more official and used in a work environment.
Okay.
So 职业规划, plan for your career planning. 职业规划. Of course, you would have, I don't know, 3年规划, 3-year planning, 5年规划, 5-year planning, different length, different period, and you're supposed to be able to plan out the entire journey you're about to embark on.
Yeah.
I cannot do that.
Can't do it, huh?
I'm a today, seize the moment kind of gal.
Well, for the interview, I think you can practice saying something, right?
Yeah, you can say, I like
ask
what
the
I
interviewer
do.
what their job title is and say, sounds like something I would like to do.
Yes.
They'll remember you and they'll laugh for sure.
And another question is, 你怎么看待加班、出差和倒班? What do you think of overtime, business trips, and working for different shifts?
You're paid for overtime, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that sounds good to me.
Really? Okay, so we can have the genuine answer from Tony first, and then we can share about the, standard and proper answer about those things.
Well,
the real feeling now.
I think that's a proper answer. You can say overtime and business trips. We're paid for those, right? I'm sure they would laugh. They would be like, yeah, that's overtime. And be like, oh, that sounds good to me.
But I think it's important to think about those questions before you get into the interview, or even before you send out your resume, you start applying for that job, because it can be a real thing, especially if you work in the news media industry. Of course, you're looking for a lot of different shifts. I have worked the 4 o'clock in the morning shift myself, and also there was the graveyard shift, 夜班. We have 夜班 and 早班. 早班 would be the early morning shifts. So you have to prepare yourself before they ask you that. So you don't, respond inappropriately. And
you think my response is inappropriate, huh?
I don't think your response is inappropriate. Just think you didn't really give it a good thought. Anyway, and of course, 出差 is the same thing. For people, 出差, business trips.
Okay.
Because, of course, some business trips would be nice, but if you're out half a year, every year, it won't be that easy on the family.
Sure.
So think of that in advance. And yes, 加班 would be another thing. 加班 would be working overtime. And you know, there are different office culture or atmosphere here in our office. I'm pretty sure that I often leave before the boss, and I'm fine. She's fine with it as well. So we do our things and we finish and we leave the office. No one's gonna give you a hard time. But it's possible that in some companies you cannot really leave until your boss is leaving. So yeah, make sure know the company culture and know yourself, know your bottom line. Remember, 双向选择, we're trying to figure out if I like the job enough and if the job wants me. So it's not like you would do anything for the job most of the time.
Well, yeah, most of the time. I think another really interesting question that I think a lot of people hate answering is, why did you leave your last job?
Oh gosh, yeah.
Why are you asking me this question right now? It's like, okay. So when I'm asked this question, it's like, you know, for relocation purposes, you know, I mean, my job was here and, you know, I moved to another city. So naturally I had to find new work.
No, I would say because I think I am not challenged at my last job anymore. I've learned a lot, I've given a lot, and we had a really good relationship, but we grow up apart, you know.
We grew apart.
We grew apart, and gradually I feel like I need a little bit more, and I need to challenge myself a little more, and I learned about your company. I think it's a great platform. You know, you can say things like that. So we would say 你为什么离职? You why?
why?
离 is 离开 leave. 职 is position. So why did you leave your last job? 你为什么离职? Or 你为什么换工作? Why would you change your job? 你为什么换工作?
换工作.
Yes, 换工作 would be change job, jump ship.
Okay. 换工作.
We've discussed a lot of fun questions. These are often the things you might encounter. Of course, it's still possible that they'll ask you strange things that has nothing to do with your job or anything. They'll just want to test again your personality.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, what kind of hobbies do you have?
Yeah.
What sport do you watch the most of?
What would you do in your free time? You want to say, how's that any of your business? But don't say that. You're just trying to figure out if you're good for your colleagues, possibly if you are a team person, team player. So be nice, be yourself, smile it through, and you will find your dream job.
Yes, very, very optimistic. I think
Very
that's
optimistic.
really good advice.
Yes.